because I used to work with a gaming and talent agency company here in the
Okay.
Philippines. But there's we pride ourselves as the leading Southeast Asia gaming and talent agency, actually. And since during our downtime, me and my workmates would usually explore what games are there in the space, what are trending. And of course, I feel like you already know this. It was the Axie phenomena
Right.
during that time in
Yeah.
early 2021. Yeah, around that time. And so it was very crazy with how people can earn just by playing a game. And for us as gamers, it's very rewarding, like literally and
Right. Yeah.
figuratively. You enjoy it, and then you get rewarded as you progressed playing the game. But what made me dive into my Web3 profession or career is with NFTs. So I got interested with the idea of the NFT art, like how a digital art can either be your identity or avatar in the space. And
Right.
since I grew up loving the arts, my grandfather is a painter, my uncle is also
Wow.
a creative artist and musician. And
How
so,
nice. Creative
yeah,
family.
yes, I think it runs in the blood, but they might disown me because I draw so bad. I can only perfect drawing a stickman, then that's it. But yeah, since I grew up in a family or an environment where we love arts,
Hmm.
I would want to say like I'm an art enthusiast, but of course there are many more people who can really have a wider knowledge when it comes to arts. And so
But
here
you
I
had
am.
like an experiential knowledge, right? You were surrounded by art, you were surrounded by artists. So obviously, your knowledge is different and you have vicarious experience.
Yeah, I think I would consider myself blessed in that sense.
100%.
So yeah, so just growing up admiring the arts, and then here I am in the digital space because that gaming company is very into digital arts and the streaming as well. So it's very in the tech side already, and so I got awestruck with that idea. And so my friend asked me, "Hey, do you want to do what you do so which is marketing and campaigns into this gaming not gaming, sorry, NFT project. And this is a whole new space you can definitely grow, and
Yeah.
that's actually the key word for me, grow.
Growth.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then I met up with the founders of that NFT art project here in the Philippines. At that time, they
Okay.
were first. Well, I do believe there were already several projects that
Hmm.
were building up here in the Philippines for NFTs, but
Hmm.
they were able to receive the title as the pioneering NFT
Wow.
project here
Nice.
in the Philippines, which is board punks of
Right.
the Philippines. And so they introduced me with the concept and then their whole collection, which actually got sold out even before I got onboarded.
Wow.
And so the main task for me already there is to help sustain the project by making
Hmm.
sure we're engaged with the communities, partnering up with different Web3 platforms
Right.
and NFT projects as well that we can collaborate with using our IP. So few after getting onboarded and after a few months, I've been doing campaigns. And then during my time there, we even had a collaboration with Scarlet Box here it's also based here in the Philippines,
Hmm.
and they're a platform. If I hope my memory serves me right, that launches NFT collections as well and sell it through
Okay.
their platform.
Okay.
When we did a collaboration with them, it's a collaboration in honor of one of the national artists, Larry Alcala. So
Okay.
we
Wow.
had creative elements from board punks, and it was in collaboration with Scarlet Fox and few works of um, Larry Alcala. And for me,
Wow.
that was very memorable. I think it
Yeah.
got
Must have been very precious, right? Especially
yes,
considering the kind of family you come from. Yeah.
yes. And actually, when I told my family about it, I didn't know that my grandfather knows Larry Alcala as well. So
Wow.
it's just amazing how these things, and I would say how blockchain is kind of connected everything
Yeah.
for me personally, because I didn't even know that Larry Alcala knew my grandfather, and then I was working on a project that my late grandfather knows about. So for me, it was very precious. It was amazing, and when I got hit with that, I think euphoria, I got too ecstatic too with
Yeah.
those things that like I said personally, how blockchain was able to weave this things for me. I then decided to leave my full-time job in the gaming space and go full dive into Web3.
Wow.
So I got reconnected to one of my college friends. It was actually through a Web3 event actually in La Union. It's known as one of like a digital nomad space here as well in the Philippines. And there was like an
Hmm.
after party after Web3 festival or Web3 PH festival. And I got reconnected with this friend, and then he asked me, "Hey, do you want to join our company? It's a gaming platform. We needed expertise on executing tournament and etc." And so having that or I mean recalling that moment wherein I got too excited and happy about how blockchain was connecting everything. But for me, again, um,
Right.
I mean, my with my personal experience, I said, yeah, maybe it's also time to go dive into the Web3 space
Yeah.
because it's a whole new horizon. And recalling how much growth it can provide for me, and not just for me, but to provide my expertise to really push these projects out there and make these Filipino founded projects out there in the space. It would be such an amazing experience to be part of that. So
Right.
yeah, that became my turning point. That personal experience of how I am amazed with what the blockchain, of course, the technology behind it can provide, and the connection it,
Yeah.
it weaves together and all. So that's actually how I got into the Web3 space. So gaming and NFTs.
Wow, that's beautiful. No, it's like there's a personal story there, and it all kind of added up, and it led you to a place where you felt like, okay, this is the right thing for you to do, and that I just love hearing about how people got into Web3, because every time, and I kid you not, I've done so many talks and I've spoken to so many people, and every time it's such an interesting story. It's serendipity, and there is some link, and this is wonderful. So now, at the moment, you're working with Cardia Chain, correct?
With Philippine Blockchain Week and
Okay,
with Cardia Chain still as their marketing.
right.
So, well actually, how do I say it? So there is actually a local business company registered name here in the Philippines. It's RGS.
Okay.
And now, after being part of the global team of Cardia Chain, we operate as RGS, and we've made Cardia Chain and the other projects under it as like our client.
All
So
right.
it
Okay.
turned into that.
Okay. Okay. So you started off as a part of the main team, and now you've branched out, and basically you are providing marketing services to other projects as well. Is that understanding correct?
Yes, that's correct. But right now, what
Okay.
I'm currently more focused and busy with is with Philippine Blockchain Week as their project
Brilliant.
manager as well. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So tell us a little about this, that what you're working with Philippine Blockchain Week, and as well as the agency that you guys have set up. Tell us a little about your role in both these places a little bit.
All right. Of course. I'll start off with Philippine Blockchain Week. So
Hmm.
we are the premier event platform here in the Philippines, bringing together global leaders,
Okay.
Web3 projects around the globe here in the Philippines. So since, of course, we have different events going on around the globe, right? And each country, we believe, needs to have their own blockchain week so that we provide opportunities for those who can't fly out to other
Right.
countries to know
Absolutely.
and get more valuable insights from the different industry key leaders and get to know about the different projects out there in the space that they aren't aware of. So we do that here in Philippine Blockchain Week. Actually, that's been the advocacy our founders have. Ms.
Okay.
Jessica Gonzalez and Ms. Janelle Barreto and Sir Donald. Hope you guys would listen or are
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
So they found that opportunity and hope to bring it here in the Philippines to provide that experience to the
Right.
fellow or to our fellow Filipinos. So we do that. Actually, right now we have a roadshow. We call it PBWX. It's actually
Wow.
patterned
Nice.
after TEDx talk. So
Okay.
yeah, we go to different cities here in the Philippines that we haven't reached because for the past 2 years, PBW operates here only in Manila. So right now, or this year rather, we go to the different cities or regions here in the Philippines and mount the event there. So we can help provide more knowledge to our fellow Filipinos in the Visayan region, Mindanao. Actually, this coming August 23 to 24 will be in Bacolod. And actually, the theme
Nice.
is more on the gamify space, which is actually right up in my alley.
Right. Yeah. So roadshows and offline events basically can be really really fun. I think when you get to meet other
Yes.
people who are as interested and invested in the space as you are. It's just fireworks and it's just all joy. So
Yes.
I totally get that. You feel like you have found your tribe because these are people who get what you're
Yes.
building, right? And they know what you're saying. They're excited about the same stuff. So I totally get that. So in this particular blockchain week that you do, so this is like a annual event that you guys hold apart, and in the coming of that event you hold these roadshows and educational initiatives.
Yes, it's actually an annual thing.
Okay.
For the past 2 years, yeah, we've done it here in Manila. For 2024, it's in the different cities here in the Philippines, and
Hmm.
then on 2025, it's gonna be the Grand PBW again, which is gonna be held here in Manila. So yeah, hopefully we get to continue this in the more years or many more years to come to help provide opportunities to the Filipinos.
Right, definitely. I think this is a wonderful initiative, and you're taking care of the you're in the PM role there,
Yes,
product management. Okay,
project
awesome,
management. It's
awesome.
an exciting and a good type or good kind of challenge, challenging role.
Yeah, no, it must be. So, apart from like the offline events in the road shows, are there any other online initiatives that you guys have as well? Do you have an online community which is bustling as well?
Yes, we do have an online community. We have our Telegram and our socials. Right now, we are in the works of solidifying our community more. I
Right.
want to help to pattern it actually with the different blockchain events in around the globe. Actually, we
Yeah.
want it to be like even after the event, everyone's still connected, everyone's still sharing their insights, because that's also one of the important pillars in the Web3 space, right? The community,
Absolutely. Yeah.
bringing them all together, exchanging valuable insights, everything, like the trends and all. So, yeah, we.
So, in terms of the online community, you mentioned that okay, you're trying to solidify it. What are the kind of specific initiatives that you guys have taken to make sure that you have a bustling online and offline community?
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little about that?
Of course. So, few of these things is partnerships, definitely,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that's how they'd see, or I mean, that's how they'll see how strong your project is or your community by forging meaningful relationships or partners that
Right.
you get to bring in to your community, help. Sorry, those partners being inside the community as well and sparking meaningful discussions. We
Hmm.
also use poll sometimes, like if we have something coming up for our event and we want to hear, of course, from the community, we do that to have further connections and engagement. But yeah, and then we keep them up to date because, of course, like I said, when we did the PBWX roadshow, it's because there are people from the other or Filipinos from the other islands or regions who can
Hmm.
fly into Manila. We still keep them up to date through, of course, what's the current happenings in our events. So things like that.
Nice. So can you tell us a little about you were in a role of marketing with Cardia Chain. Can you tell
Yes.
us a little about a campaign that did really well in terms of educating the end user? Because I do think that in Southeast Asia, obviously there are a lot of builders, but there are also like the larger population is still very unaware about decentralized
Yes.
technology and just blockchain in general, and they have a certain perception around it. Like everything decent, you say blockchain or and they think crypto,
They
they
get,
think
yeah.
Bitcoin. Yeah. And then they feel that, okay, yeah, perhaps you don't want to get into that. And maybe it's like they perceive it in not so positive manners because of perhaps the scams and all that they've heard
The
of
things
in
that
the
have
mainstream
happened.
media. Right. So
Mhm.
how do you go about, like, as a marketer, how do you go about changing that perception? What did you do? Was there any specific campaign that did really well when you were heading Cardia Chain, as well as when you're trying to help these other projects out with their marketing?
Okay. This is actually a very interesting question to Rusha, because I myself have experienced this firsthand. Um, I'll try to get, I think, yeah, my CEO or our CEO would be okay me sharing this. So actually, under Cardio Chain, we used to have a game, Mighty Five Bet. So this is just to give a bit of a background story
Hmm.
and context. So we had a game before, and it's called 95 Pet. And what
Okay.
happened was the game kind of discontinued, and people who owns like a lot of NFTs in this game suddenly couldn't play it anymore, because we stopped the raid
Right.
boss, which is like the
Right.
final stage of the game wherein they can earn more. And so without the raid boss, you couldn't have more tokens in, or what's the use even of your
Hmm.
NFT pets, right? And
Right.
so we tried to fix that up when we were able to partner up with a new game studio. So here comes, and where I'll insert the question you've asked, like how did we change the perception, or like, kind of make it up to the community. We did actively have or host community AMAs to clear things up. So I think that's also one of the most important things any projects would do, or community builders or groups, is to have constant AMAs, because this is how you would be able to bring to light about a certain issue or topic. Because
Right.
let's face the fact, even I myself is guilty about this. If it's something too long to read, people wouldn't even stick till the end,
Yeah, that's right.
even though it
Yeah.
might right, even though it might be a statement, or like an article that addresses a certain issue. If it's too long, people won't read it.
You won't
Even
read
some,
it, or you'll just save it, right, for later, that
yes,
you'll
save it
get to
and
it
then
later,
forget
and you never do.
it.
Yeah, you never do get to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Same. I think everybody is. Everybody does that. Anybody who spends any considerable amount of time online, they end up doing that. That, they look at some big piece of chunky, lengthy thing, and they are like,
Yes.
okay, I'll get to it. And, they just skim through it. That happens. Yeah.
Yes, and then you won't be able to even grasp the whole concept of what you wanted to deliver, because you already lost your audience. So actually, even with videos, so what people wanted right now, which I noticed, is they want interaction. So community AMAs helps address certain issue or change perception. When it comes to onboarding new members, or even people who are afraid of Web3 because of the perception they already got, or crypto and stuff like that, we try to provide GameFi campaigns, because of course everyone is very into games, something fun, an activity,
Yeah.
and that will reward them.
Yeah.
Because that's also,
Incentivized gaming is like a very big way to keep the community engaged.
yes. So yeah, we provide those, and also we sometimes, no, not sometimes, but it actually is one of the factors to validate a project. I think, like I said a while ago, partnerships is also important. So that's also one. So when we bring in partners, and they have their own community, like recently we locked a campaign with AI meme fighters. So we're gonna have like a clash of communities, and of course the community will be happy, because it's an activity where everyone can be together and then compete. And with these solidifying partnerships that we have from other projects, or not just gaming companies, but other Web3 companies, it helps them
Right.
lessen their worry if this project is a scam, or Are they
Yeah.
gonna rug
It
pull us?
adds more credibility, right? Like,
Yes,
you,
there you go. Thank you,
yeah.
Trusha. Just a disclaimer, I really have a tendency to be wordy, very wordy
No,
actually.
that is absolutely okay. We love wordy people. That is what makes for interesting conversations. But yeah, it does add, I think, a little bit of credibility when it is coming
Yes, it
through
is.
a trusted force. So
Yes.
that is what is happening in this condition. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, yeah, to sum the things that I did as a marketer, to sum it all up, it's interaction with the community, making
Hmm.
sure you're very transparent. And it's also
Right.
one of the elements, for the lack of a better term, here in Web3, transparency. So yeah, that partnerships and providing activities or campaigns that will help drive people, or you get to onboard them and or make them stay to your project. So those
Right.
things.
Yeah. No, I think those can be very good ways to penetrate into, just the psyche of people, make them more aware of solutions here being built in with
Mhm.
decentralized technologies. I genuinely think that, the education aspect only needs to be to the extent that they need to be made aware that these apps also exist. Or there are certain solutions that exist perhaps beyond the ambit of the usual Play Store and App Store that they
Mhm.
have on their phones, because I truly believe that they don't need to understand the technology stack to
Yes.
utilize these apps, right? I think that is why play to earn games, they were so big, because it was pretty much a clunkier version maybe, but very
Mhm.
pretty similar to web 2 games.
What they,
And
yes.
yeah, so it's very similar. That is why it took off in a big way, because people understood that is something that they already understand, and here they are also incentivized. So why would they
Yes.
not?
Right. That's correct. Because I think one of the things too is us as people, we are kind of we're fearful, of course, of the unknown. So if it's
Right.
something
Yeah.
new, you wouldn't be able to try it. But
Yeah.
right now, what actually amazes me too is that there are different technologies that has blockchain technology in it, and people don't even recognize or realize that they're
Yeah.
already using it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as part of the initiatives we do for the community is providing them with key informations and visuals that would already make them understand that's how it works. I'm already
Yeah.
using Web3, and now if there are, of course, incentivize or incentive aspects by just using the app, the platform, the game, and etc., they'll be very convinced to download, let's say, a MetaMask or a Web3 wallet, and gather their
Yeah.
earnings and
There'll be a
rewards.
further push, I think, that
Yes,
there'll be a further
further
push. They'll be
push.
motivated to sort of do that. They'll have an incentive to do that. And their interest also peaks, right? When they are able to utilize something and they understand it, then
Yes,
they are more perhaps they'll be more keen on perhaps exploring it further.
exploring it. Yes.
Right. Okay, so can you tell us a little about what is the next big milestone that you're looking forward to vis-a-vis the studio as well as the Philippine Blockchain Week in your professional, ambit? What are you looking forward to?
Actually, I think this is where one of my advocacies would come in. What
Hmm.
my biggest, I think the biggest milestone I would have is that if I get to pull more women to be in the space,
Yeah,
because yeah, I think attending tons of events in the past, even up until now, we're still quite outnumbered.
yeah,
But
yeah. There are only
yeah,
few women, in
yes.
those events, and it's mostly men that kind of the majority is men, basically. Yeah, and it is unfortunate. Yeah. But it
Yeah.
has been the case for the longest time. But I have been around since 2011, and it has
Wow.
improved. Yeah, but I think there's still such a long way to go. How do you
Yes.
intend to do that? How do you intend to get more women in the space? Because this is something that interests me as well.
Okay. Well, actually, there is already existing organizations, of course, but
Right.
I want to be able to help target women or how do I say it? My mind is like kind of like to target women and similar to my age or age bracket, and even Gen
Right.
Zs. So that is one of the things that I wanted to work on, or my next milestone personally, yeah, is to gather women millennials to Gen Zs, and have a strong women group that is very driven to promoting mass adoption and technology in the space. So whatever their profession is, because um, the reason for that is I think I've spoken to a few was interested diving into Web3 as part as their career path, but what they're afraid of is when they hear these terms, tech and blockchain, they would think they can only penetrate it if, let's say, you've been there for quite a while, and or if you're a dev or if you can build
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Those are
they're
the
not.
misconceptions that kind of hold people back. They feel
Yeah.
like they need to be really tech savvy to get into this space, which is not true. This is like any other sector, right? You need people from
Yes.
all kinds of skill sets.
Yes, that's true. Actually, that's one of challenges I've faced entering. No, not entering. I think when I was like, it was around my second or third year in the space. People would question what would a marketer do in the space, what could partnerships do in the space. They
Hmm.
would high, but they will hold you with high regards if they know you are a builder. But now, more builders acknowledges that everything works hand in hand. You need someone to help promote you about your project. You need
Absolutely.
salesperson
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
sell
You
your
can't just
project.
build in isolation, right? That doesn't work. Like you
Yes.
can build a lot of projects and a lot of platforms, but if you don't have any particular use case and you don't have users for that use case, how will that work? And for you to be able to portray that use case, you need marketers. For you to be able to get users, you need the marketers as well as the BD folks who can actually collaborate and cross market. So all of
Yes,
that becomes very important. It's very short
it is.
term, short-sighted talking and opinion when people think that, okay, this is just for the techies. It's not
Mhm.
for anybody else.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, you've been obviously around for some time and, in this space. Are there any particular thought leaders? Are there any particular communities that you're a part of that you would like to recommend to women who are just starting up and they want to perhaps enter Web3?
Yeah, of course. Well, one is actually, you know what? It's very timing that we did this right now because just a past, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I was in Malaysia with Malaysia in Malaysia Blockchain Week, and
Okay.
I got the chance to be surrounded by very amazing women actually in the space who owns different Web3 companies and
Hmm.
organizations. So if you are looking into joining the Web3 space and you're very much into gaming, you can check out VGG. They are a Web3 gaming organization. It's headed by Irene Umar. If you're into tech, I've met Ida Mock. I got introduced to them by one of my mentors in the space, and actually one of my boss in Philippine Blockchain Week, which is Miss Cheska Gonzalez. So they're actually
Wow.
one of
Okay.
no, not one. They are a few of the thought leaders in the space that I look up to. So those are a few. And of course, if we have listeners here in the Philippines and you're into, tapping into the events management and you want to know more about the different Web3 projects out there and bringing them here in the Philippines, you can of course talk to us at Philippine Blockchain Week, of course, and
Hmm.
we'd be very much happy to have you. And there is also Connect Web3. It's headed by Mr. Ken Berry. They actually have a large network of different Web3 projects and communities.
Okay.
So if you guys or the listeners, viewers would be interested to get into different projects in the Web3 space from NFTs, trading, and etc., you can of course connect with Connect Web3. And yeah, there's
Excellent.
actually a lot more I would love to. So if of course any viewers or listeners would have any other questions, they can maybe send it to you or send it to me through LinkedIn, and I'd be very happy to entertain them.
Sure, sure. So we'll sure to put up your LinkedIn profile in the description so that people can reach out to you with any more questions or they can send it directly to us. Now, I want to zoom out a little bit and talk a little about the ecosystem as a whole. We've talked about what you're doing, what you've built so far. When it comes to the blockchain ecosystem, how much maturity do you think has come in the past few years, and especially the Southeast Asian ecosystem as a whole? What is your take on that?
I think from the time that I've came in to now,
Hmm.
it's it gotten quite mature in a sense that we've already seen so much progression when it comes to the different technologies or developments that's already been there. And of
Right.
course, I'd also want to mention something similar to what we've been doing in Cargo Chain, the layer one infrastructure and stuff like that, how each of the different chains can now interact and connect with each other. So I'm not sure if that's like new news, of course, to some, but from from my experience, before it would even be hard to transfer an NFT to another network, or there's like a lot of things that you'd have to do or pay a lot of gas fees just to
Right.
transfer, yeah, one
Yeah.
NFT from this wallet to another. But now it's more convenient. It's because of like the dual nodes or the inter. I'm so sorry. I'm not really like a very the dev-ish person. I tend to forget the tech words.
That is absolutely okay. I think not all of us are like very tech savvy, and most of us forget words. So that is absolutely fine. It's all of us
I'm
have been
trying
there.
my best not to forget anything because I think I would be such a hypocrite being in this space and not recall.
No, that is okay. I think, the best of us, when put on the spot, we forget the tweets or or the person who was behind those tweets that we were just reading. So it is okay. That's absolutely fine. I think that's more than normal. So again, you mentioned how there is some maturity that has come in this
Yeah,
space in the last few
sorry.
years. Right. So I would love to understand from you, what are the kind of trends that you foresee that are here to stay in this space? Because again, it's been a few years that you've been around, and in the next few years, what do you see? What are the kind of trends that you see would be here to stay?
In I think in since I've been into much of the gaming space too, one of the
Hmm.
trends I think that would be here to stay is, of course, other than the P2E, is the play to own, because it's actually also very recent that I've heard about the play to own.
Yeah,
I'm not
this is
sure
a
how.
news recent phenomena. Yeah.
Yeah. All along, like I thought if you have like an NFT, if you bought it and played with it, then it's yours, and then you can already start earning by just playing. But with play to own, I think it's gonna be there to stay, because if there would be users who can, of course, afford to buy an NFT, or yeah, an NFT to play the game, they can just easily mint and own it from um, the game app itself, and then progress along as you play. So I think that's one. And the other trends would, of course, be the part of the lifestyle trends, like the walk to earn, run to earn. Because I see a few people who are actually not very into Web3, but the fact itself that they can be incentivized and rewarded just by running and walking. And this goes, of course, to the fitness junkie or enthusiast. So I think that's also one of the trends that will be here to stay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. These are basically consumer facing trends. These are trends that make the user part of the equation without them having to really deep dive into the tech aspect. So I think, definitely these are the kind of trends that will stay, and that is what is going to help on board,
Yeah.
a few thousand more users into the ecosystem. Because, like, initially, I think, 8 years, 7 years ago, people used to think about how decentralized technology is something that they need to understand to be able to use fully. Now,
Yes.
because there was obviously UI, a lot of UX issues were there, and people did really have to understand certain parts to be able to do anything, to interact with those web apps. But now
But
that
now,
has changed, right? With wallet abstraction, chain abstraction, and whatnot, and interoperability being an issue which has not been completely
yeah,
solved,
very
but
true.
there are a lot of people who are working on it, right, and trying to make the entire experience better. So I do think that, to a large degree, now that is not required, because I keep giving this analogy, and I think I will never tire of it. I do think that so many people are online, right? Almost everybody is online in the world.
Yes.
Whoever is blessed enough to have like an internet connection and a smartphone, everybody has been online in one way or another, but not everybody understands how the internet works, right? And they're
Yes.
still on it. So, they can be using blockchain applications. They don't necessarily need to
Without
understand the tech
even,
stack, right?
yes.
We use stuff like Notion, WhatsApp, and whatnot, and we don't understand the tech stack. We don't know fully,
Yes.
right, what tech stack they're using. We don't even
They're
care.
using,
Yeah.
because we're experiencing it and we interact with it. So,
Exactly. It's solving a problem for us to be, so we are using it. It's not
yeah.
that, we are really looking at how to, go about and look into the tech stack and understand, okay, what language they're
How did it
using.
work?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
did it work? Where are the servers kept? We don't care about all of that. So I do think that, we have fortunately reached that stage with the kind of maturity that we have seen that has come in the last few years, like you mentioned, that at least, we know that, okay, they don't need to understand the ins and outs. And the UI and the user experience has improved a little bit. So it's okay to not expect them to know everything,
Yeah, that
just to
too,
handle them.
actually.
Yeah, that's
The
there.
user experience part.
Yeah, it has improved, right, considerably since like in the last few years. So that is great. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot again and ask you about like your perhaps some projects that you feel are doing really well, that you think are really solving a consumer problem, and they're seeing good traction according to you, or and as well as like perhaps a chain that you really are bullish on.
Oh, yeah. You kind of really put me on the spot there.
Right. Yeah.
But
That is why I started the question. In my defense, I told you that I'm going to put you on the spot.
no, it's all good.
Hmm.
Oh, I'll do my best to answer this real good. But okay, in terms of I guess a project that can help solve an issue. I'm not really sure if it's more consumer centric, but it's one of the projects that I came across with. But it helps address the issue on the ownership actually of people, because I mentioned earlier that I'm into the arts and a bit on the music side, and so I was curious as
Right.
well about the projects out there in the space that addresses or touches those things. And
Hmm.
one of those is clap art.
Okay.
Um, it's a project. I think it's a real world asset project that helps provide like an innovative space for artists and musicians to protect their
Nice.
own work. And I think it's one of those that, let's say you're an artist and you uploaded like a song or something, and then people stream it, and then you as a holder, let's say, of the token or an NFT of that specific artist or song, you also get to earn from like the streaming counts. And you as an artist, because you have the rights to your song, or as an artist, you also get incentivized or compensated for people interacting or edits or using your work. So I think it helps addresses the issue. Yeah, I think it's not more on the consumer, but or more on the profession side, that the ownership, you as an artist, your ownership for your work is like you really own it, because you're the one who's able to reap the results, and yeah, the compensation part and the rights. Actually, I think that's one of
Right.
the most important things for
That you
musicians and
have the rights, you own the rights to your creation, and there is
your own
no
creation.
middleman. Yeah, so that
Yes,
that is obviously something that is wonderful, because we see that with so many, right? We saw that with
so
Spotify,
many
we see it with
artists.
all of these
Yeah,
artists, right? They're such big artists that are grappling with the same issues of not having rights to what
rights to
they
their
have
own.
created, own creation, which is very sad.
Yeah, I want to drop a name because I'm also a fan of that artist. Is that allowed?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead, we'll link that up.
So similar to Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Swiftie.
Yeah.
Wherein
Right.
she wasn't able to get the rights to her own writings and even
Yeah,
music arrangements and all.
yeah,
So she had to redo like a number of albums, which
yeah.
actually sounded much greater, by the way. But yeah, of course, right? If those
It's
artists
hard
have,
on the artists, right? Like,
yes, it's
artists
gonna take
like
up
Kesha
time.
and whatnot. So many
Yes,
artists have faced that, and they've had a hard time, grappling with this entire thing. Even I think at some point Katy Perry had issues, and lots of them, like all of them have had issues with us something like this. Even in the I think the Southeast Asian continent, we've seen artists having the same issue, that
Issue.
the music labels kind of own what they have created, and they
Yeah.
are just getting a pittance out of it, which is a disservice, right, to their talent.
Yes, it is. Actually, Taylor Swift is already a big name, so how much more, I mean, for conversation's sake, like the small time artists, right?
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
that is
so
what I'm saying. That even the big guys are grappling with it. Just think about the smaller ones who are still,
yeah,
who's just starting out, and who
starting
are
up
probably,
and
yeah. How do you even scale, right? If there is already like a leeching, atmosphere around, and there's a mechanism that kind of leeches off your earnings and your talent,
yeah,
it's got to be very, very difficult. Yeah, this is very pertinent, and I think blockchain technology is such a good use case here, like for
yes.
especially for this kind of stuff where the middleman becomes like a predator almost.
Yeah. So I actually hope more, of course, that people get to be interested to know about these technologies. And like you said, they don't even have to deep dive and know about the ins
Yeah.
and outs. All they have to do is really like simply click the platform and then you're already there. You won't even like notice it.
Yeah, you won't notice a difference apart from some latency issues. I think because of the technology, I don't think that there are a lot of differences now. Obviously, we still have a long way to go to give
Yes,
users a
yeah.
very smooth, experience, and just click, click,
Experience.
and they're there and they've signed up. But we are getting there, and I do think that you'll do disservice to yourself and your future self if you don't delve into decentralized technologies in any way, because it's important and it's going to become the most important way of doing things in the coming decade.
Definitely. So yeah. I
So
think I'm
now
gonna take back my answer a while ago that it's been matured. I think the
there's a long way to
maturity,
go.
yeah, there's a long way to go. But from my point when I joined it, it did
It
already.
has. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I do think so too. I think that, okay, as I said, they've been around since 2011, right? It's been a long time.
It's been a
And
long time.
very, very long time. And I do see certain changes. Like I do see that, okay, initially when, in 2011, there was not even a word like Web3. Nobody was using that term. It was just crypto,
I
blockchain,
haven't
right?
even
And
heard. Yeah,
yeah,
blockchain,
yeah. So it was just
crypto.
that, and from there to having literally consumer-facing applications, and not which are not just exchanges. Because at that point, I think it was just about there were not many exchanges also back then. But then when
Yes.
later there were exchanges, and those were the only consumer-facing applications that were there, and there were no games as such, and there is a lot of change that has happened over the years, but obviously I think that there is still a long way for us to go in terms of everything, all aspects, getting more women in the space, providing a better user experience
Sorry.
to the people who are joining in, having more applications that are actually solving a problem.
Solving a
uh,
problem.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That.
There are so many infrastructure, and there's nothing wrong with creating an infrastructure solution. It's just that I think that there are a lot of platforms at the moment. There are a lot of builders who are building good things, great things, but there are not many users, and that needs to be really figured out, because otherwise we're creating a bubble for ourselves,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, actually, what you mentioned, it also happens like during events. So
yeah,
there'd be like new projects being launched here in the Philippines, layer one, layer three, those different
yeah.
infrastructures, and you'd be seeing the very same persons or people in the group.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's the
so
same
that's
folks. It's the same folks in all of these events. The same folks are relating. We do need to solve for users. Yesterday I saw this tweet. Somebody had actually tweeted that how is it that all of these projects have thousands of people in their community and they have like 3 users? And he was like, because it's easier to sort of, they're bots or they're paid
yes,
community members. And that has become a problem, because what we are doing is we are inadvertently creating a bubble in the Web3 space. And that is not good. You really need users, and you need users apart from just speculators who are
yes.
solving these, who are actually,
Trying
using
out
these
these, yes,
applications.
using
Yeah,
these applications.
yeah, because there are some, quite a few traders, and they've been around for a while, and they would be there for a while. But is that the audience that you're really building for? That is something that I think builders do need to ask themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, more builders I think would need to for sure they are stepping up their game.
Yeah.
when it comes to producing or leveling up what they've created. But yeah, they definitely, I think, not just think, but I believe they need to address something that would really drive users to try out
Yeah.
what they've built, the application, not
Absolutely.
just.
Absolutely.
And actually, I
Yeah.
think it also this is also something for those builders, of course. This is actually something that I noticed too, that there are builders who would just build just because of they wanted to join the hype
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Web3. I mean,
Yeah.
yes,
Decentralization for the decentralization's sake.
yes,
Just saying, yeah, adding that. And now obviously there is a new trend. You add AI to anything and it becomes like a
yes,
hit overnight.
yeah, that AI craze. I think it was, yeah, I think it was just this year. We're in, no, not just this year, but it was kind of more hype. I think this
Yeah.
2024. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely everything is, yeah, there's an AI touch to
Yeah, yeah,
everything.
definitely. No, see, I think everything should be done with a good rationale in mind. Like, why are you
Yes,
building on this
that. Why are
technology? Is
you
it really
building this?
necessary? Yeah, is it really necessary to be? Maybe a solution that you're building is better suited for for a Web 2 stack. You don't
Yes,
need to complicate it further. So, keeping those things in mind is important because it's very easy to jump on the bandwagon. But how are you going to sustain it? Right? How are you going
yes.
to really
The
scale it?
sustainability of actually that I think is where us marketers would also come in. If these devs would also help us simplify these things so we can help promote further, and of course to promote mass adoption, wherein it's going to be easy for everyone
Yeah.
to try out the product or the app or
It needs to go hand in hand. I think, the
yes,
builders and the marketers need to work together. I think the folks who were very surprised why the marketers back then, when you used to go in events, they must be really, really understanding the value that marketers and BD folks bring to the space because, there's only so much that you can keep building. And there was a quote, right? A ship is good and safe in a harbor, but that is not what it was built for, right? You can build these platforms, but if you're not really taking it out to sea, then it is useless, right? It's a waste of time and potential.
yes, it's just there.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
in your
there.
own
Yeah.
hands.
What are you going to do with it? So definitely, this has been such a wonderful conversation, but we are almost out of time.
Oh
And,
yeah,
I just saw the time clock
timer.
and, yeah, I think that, we need to really wrap it up. But
Of course.
I would love to ask you one more question before we do wrap this
Yeah,
up.
sure.
You've made a leap as well. Like you move from Web 2 to Web 3. What would be your suggestions for folks who are perhaps trying to get into the Web 3 space? Apart from all the little nuggets of insights that we've already discussed so far, so that they have like a good experience and they don't like get scared off and intimidated by it initially, just by getting in and then getting out. What would be your suggestions that they sort of manage to stay in Web 3, build in Web 3, use Web 3, and you've done that. So I would love to hear your suggestions for the potential user and builder as well.
Okay. Well, first to start off is, of course, if you want to get started into Web3 and choose that as your career path, all you really have to do is to do the like that leap. So
Take that
find the
leap.
right projects.
Yeah.
Yes, take that leap. Of course, people would see Web3 as like a cash cow. Well,
Yeah.
of
A lot of
course, like
people do. Yeah.
let's say it's already there, like the pay is high, but you have to. It shouldn't be like your
Yeah.
but take that leap, bring what you've learned from Web 2 to the Web 3 space to help contribute, make this like and a vibrant community and environment. So that
Right. Yeah.
other than taking leap, do your research. Of course, we wouldn't want
Yeah.
you to be into the wrong project. It would be really hard. So you do your own research, you double check, of course, read the white paper, do the community check and all that. And of course, if you need guidance, for sure, in one way or another, one of your friends is like into the Web 3 space. So ask them about
Yeah.
like well, let's say local community projects first. If they have if you have that in your own country before diving internationally, do so that you just get to be more immersed how the space works.
Hmm.
But definitely just take that leap. And when it comes comes to developing into the Web3 space, I think Tarusha and I have already talked about this a while ago. If you're building something into Web3, I think everyone in the space already is here because we believe technology it can address. So if you're building something, put into mind about what I think your biggest why as to why you're
Yeah.
really doing it.
Right.
So
Why and who you're building it for? What is the problem that you're solving? Does
yes,
it really
why
need
is
to be, yeah, like on Web3? I think that is something that a lot of builders need to ask themselves because they keep building solutions left, right, center. And at times I'm like evaluating a deal or a pitch deck, and I'm thinking that, honestly, it could have been done without blockchain, right? You could
blockchain?
have just,
Yeah.
yeah, you could have just made this and it would have been perhaps
You're
simpler.
just gonna
And,
complicate it.
yeah, it would have been simpler. Your PMF can come out, sorry, your MVP can come out faster. That'll help you find a PMF quicker. All of that happens much quicker then because obviously it becomes a little complicated when you add this additional layer of new technology and you need to get those skilled
Technology.
resources, right? So, yeah, that is there. Awesome. So, thank you
Yeah.
so
So
much.
yeah.
Yeah. I think this is
Thank
a
you so
wonderful
much
way
too.
to, end this particular conversation. This has been a wonderful conversation. I'm sure that, our viewers will have a lot of insights to take from this. I'm
I
so
hope
grateful that you
so.
could make the time. Thank you so much for making the
Thank
time
you
to
so
talk to
much,
us today.
Teresa.
And lovely talking to you. Any parting words before we wrap this up?
Think any parting words? Yeah, we are gonna make it.
Yes, we're going to make it. I think that is like a lovely way to end this. Thank you so much once again,
Thank
Bethany.
you so much, Terusha.